We build an 8-team parlay with every NFL division winner and tell you how you could take home $1,000 in just 10 minutes. And it all starts right now. What's going on, everyone? It's Matt from Grandstand Bettors, and this is part 6 of our 8-part series where we build a parlay with every NFL division winner in the 2022-23 NFL season. And make sure you stick around to the end of the video because we're going to tell you how you could win $1,000 this NFL season in just 10 minutes. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of our videos, and smash that like button because we are about to dive in to the NFC North. And get ready to hate us in the comments because we are going against everyone with this division prediction. Now, in last place, we're going to take in the NFC North the Detroit Lions, and the last time they actually won this division was all the way back in 1993, and they have been last in the division for the last 4 years in a row. Now, offensively, the problem has not been at quarterback for them. They did have Matthew Stafford for 12 years, and now they have Jared Goff last season, who threw over 3,000 yards and 19 touchdowns with only 8 interceptions. They have also had some very good wide receivers come through this organization, and they have TJ Hawkinson at tight end now for the past 3 seasons. That leaves us with their running backs, which has been one area they have struggled at a lot. You have to go all the way back to 2013 for the last time a Lions running back put over 1,000 rushing yards on the season. Now, their running back then was Reggie Bush, and he was in his 8th year in the league. DeAndre Swift has shown a lot of potential to be that back for the foreseeable future, but even he only had barely 600 rushing yards last season. That brings us to our second issue with the offense, in our opinion, which is their offensive line. Between 2014 and 2020, the lowest number of sacks they allowed in a season was 37, and they let Stafford get sacked over 40 times in 4 of those years. Now, last year they did improve slightly, only letting Goff get sacked 35 times, but still not much of an improvement. Now, their first round draft pick from 2021, Penny Sewell, has helped them out a lot, but they still have a long way to go, in our opinion. And the other weak very spot on this team is their defense. Last year they gave up the 4th worst yards per game, ranked 28th in rush defense, and gave up 27.5 points per game. They knew this was an issue, and in this year's draft, they did select Aiden Hutchinson out of Michigan, and then drafted 5 other defensive players with the 7 remaining picks in the draft. That is still, though, a very young defense in the NFL, and with some very good offenses on their schedule, it's going to be tough for them to get ahead of any other team. So, yes, we have the Lions finishing last in the NFC North. And yes, we know a lot of you are going to disagree with that because you think that that offensive line is going to be great, but how about we just take a wait-and-see approach and see how it pans out this season? Now, in third place, yes, another hot take alert here. We have the Minnesota Vikings taking third place in this division. Between them, the Bears, and the Packers, the one big difference, in our opinion, is defense. They have some very good players on offense in guys like Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Dalvin Cook, and Kirk Cousins isn't an awful quarterback, but as we saw last year, it doesn't matter how good your offense is if their defense gives up 25 points per game. The 5th most passing yards per game, and generates little to no pass rush up front. In fact, the top 3 players with sacks last season on the Vikings were linebackers. Their leading pass rusher only had 8.5 sacks, and their top defensive edge rusher only had 5 sacks. What is worse is they didn't do any additions to fix this issue in the offseason, and there are no signs of improvement to their secondary unless a defensive back has a breakout year for them. Now, they are going to have to rely yet again on this offense to carry them throughout the season, and we saw how that turned out last season. So, sure, they ended the season with 8 wins, but they did not get into the playoffs, and the Bears, let's remember, they weren't too far behind them. Now, they only have the 20th hardest schedule this season, which is certainly an improvement compared to last season's 5th hardest one, but we don't think they made enough offseason moves here to tighten up that defense and make them a playoff caliber team. Again, so yeah, come at us, bro. Vikings, 3rd place in the NFC North. Now, in 2nd place in the NFC North, we're going to take the Chicago Bears. After an up-and-down season last year that they actually started with Andy Dalton at quarterback for this team, rookie quarterback Justin Fields stepped in and had a lot of promising moments that should make the Bears fans excited for this season. The Bears have also moved in the right direction at providing a solid offensive line for their quarterback. Last year, they started addressing this by selecting a couple linemen in the draft who will start this year, and along with rookie Braxton Jones, they have a solid future for their offensive line. They also have added a couple veterans to help out in the short term. They brought in Riley Reef at left tackle from the Bengals and Lucas Patrick at guard from the Packers. Now, with a better offensive line and Fields' ability to run the ball, the Bears' run game should open up a little bit more this season behind David Montgomery. This is really going to be a key point for them because they are a little weak at wide receiver. Now, they certainly have an above-average wide receiver core with Darnell Mooney, Brian Pringle, and tight end Cole Kmet, but when Fields struggles the most, it is throwing the ball accurately down the field, and if they don't have that long ball as a threat, defenses will still have an easy time shutting down this offense. On the defensive side of the ball, though, the Bears lost Mack in free agency, but they brought in Robert Quinn, who had a career best last season with 18.5 sacks to help mitigate that. They also drafted a lot of rookies to add some depth to their secondary, and behind linebacker Roquan Smith, who had 163 tackles last year, this defense should be solid again, especially with their new head coach's background as a defensive coordinator. Which means that just leaves us in this NFC North one team at the top, and that's going to be, again, the Green Bay Packers winning this division for the 4th year in a row. When it comes down to it for us, Aaron Rodgers is just better than all the other quarterbacks in this division, and yes, they lost Devontae Adams. That was huge. But Rodgers knows where to throw the ball for his receivers to catch it. He still has guys like Allen Lazard, rookie Christian Watson, and Sammy Watkins with tight end Robert Tonyan, along with a very dynamic rushing attack led by Aaron Jones and supported by A.J. Dillon. This offense should have no problem putting up some numbers or similar numbers to what they did last season. The only question really is who will become Rodgers' go-to receiver in the red zone. Now, defensively, the Packers also, in our opinion, have the upper hand on this division. Last year, they were 9th in yards given up and 10th in pass defense and 11th in run defense. The biggest reason for their success is their depth, and that is certainly going to be tested with the guys they lost in free agency. Just to show you, though, how much depth they had last season. Last year, 14 guys had over 30 tackles, 9 guys had interceptions, 23 guys played in 10 or more games. They're just stacked at depth, and I think that's going to play a part this season. The fact that the Packers had 13 wins last season with the 4th hardest schedule, and now they've dropped down to an 11th easiest schedule in the league, it should be a little bit of a red flag for the other teams in the division. Barring any major injury to Aaron Jones this season, we see this defense being the catalyst behind yet another division crown for the Packers. So, we're going to take the Packers at minus 155 to win the NFC North. Now, if you're keeping track at home, that gives us 6 out of our 8-team parlay. We now have the Bills, Ravens, Colts, Chargers, Eagles, and now the Packers, which would make that 6-team parlay at plus 89.25. Now, part 7 will be coming out in just a couple days, so make sure, again, you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss our massive parlay that ends up being over 250 to 1 odds. Now, before we sign off, though, we promised you how you could win $1,000 in just 10 minutes' time, and the answer is very easy. Go to grandstandbettors.com, sign up for our free, let me reiterate that, free NFL betting contest. All you do is take 30 seconds each week to pick 5 games against the spread, and if you are atop the leaderboard after week 18, you're going to be taking home $1,000. It is as simple as that. The link of that is in the description. Go sign up now because all registrations close at 1 p.m. on September 11th. As always, though, sit back, relax, enjoy some of these last preseason games, and get ready because football starts in 17 days.